So we're Summer Staffers. If you don't know us, some of you guys are new. Yes, actually, believe it or not, we're in college, I know. But this is our chance to share how we've been all in and how God's called us to be all in. Our story's a little bit different. But yeah, I'll go ahead and start my notes. My train of thought is really terrible, so I have to look at notes.
That's okay.
Thanks.
We still love you.
All right.
Yeah, we do.
Thanks. All right. So I was born in a Christian family. But my parents got divorced when I was 10, and that was really hard on me. It created feelings of loneliness and a sense of void in my life. I was the youngest of 4, and so that was like, you know, your parents have that first kid, and they're like, okay, we're gonna do the right thing, and then they start like, about kid 3, they're like, okay, well, we kind of get how to do this, but like absent-minded. And so my parents got divorced. My dad was off pursuing like whatever, and then my mom was always working to put food on the table. So it was always like no parents in my life. So there was, feelings of loneliness, and a void was very, very present in my life. For me, I turned to video games. It gave me a sense of community, accomplishment, and excitement. This alternative reality I clung to because it was. I clung to that reality because it wasn't the reality, my actual reality, which was full of broken relationships, whether that's with my mom or my dad or even my siblings. I played to an insane amount, sometimes taking precedence over sleeping and eating. Yeah, I know. I don't look like a gaming nerd, but I definitely am or was. It perpetuated or furthered my loneliness and widened the void that was in my heart. I either filled the void with video games or even pursuing girls. It was addiction of things of the flesh, like pleasure, comfort, and love, what I thought to be love. My addiction led to such heartache and struggles in all my relationships. It strained my relationships with my brothers, my family, and just people in my life. And not to say that video games is like just a unique thing in my life. It's synonymous with a lot of things like worldly pleasures or things of the flesh. They're all not fulfilling, fleeting, and empty at the end. And I felt God calling me to get rid of my Xbox. And that was like, it doesn't seem like that hard of a thing, but it was like a severe idol in my life that I was like, just pushing towards throughout, since I was 10 up until I was about 18 when I sold my Xbox. But I pursued that as an idol in my life because it gave me comfort, but it always left me feeling lonely and empty. And same thing with like any relationship with a girl I ever had. It was always like just empty. I was like, oh, she's in love with me, or I'm in love with her, and it felt real. But then like in a matter of months, it was like, okay, this is empty. This isn't fulfilling. This is fleeting. And some verse that came to me, I can't remember how or who told me it. It was 2 Corinthians 5:17, and it's therefore those who come to the Lord, they come as a new creation. The old is gone and the new has come. That's paraphrased. 2 Corinthians 5:17. I don't have my Bible on me, but it gave me comfort knowing I could be made new again, even after being away from the Lord for so long. I grew up in a Christian home, so it was like He was in my life, He was present in my life, but He wasn't the top. He wasn't what I had been pursuing. It was girls or video games, things that were like things of the flesh. That was instant gratification. If you've ever heard the saying, it's fast as flesh and slow as spirit. And I was always about the fast, easy, things that would fill that void quickly but never fully fill it. To this day, I'm being made new by God's salvation and unconditional love. I am no saint. I still fall prey to my desires of the flesh, but I'm renewed. But with my renewed spirit, I fight daily to love the Lord my God and share Him with the world. God calls each of you guys to give up the desires of the flesh and to follow Him. And it's really hard to do that. It's something that's like, it equates to things like in your life that are taking precedence over God. It's a way to compare like, okay, how much time am I giving to this and how much time am I giving to God? And there's been a lot of things I'm working on even in my own life to give up and start pursuing the Lord.
I grew up in a Christian home as well, and okay, well, my junior year, my brother passed away from fighting that was obviously super hard, grief to this day, but I've had a different perspective on it than my family, and that's truly helped me kind of overcome that. I think if I didn't have God and a Christian family, whether that's friends or immediate family, that I don't know what I would do. And so I've always had a different perspective on that, but since that day, my heart has flipped into wanting to give it all up to God. And but in that process of these last 2 years, I've done pretty much everything for me. I quit drill team because I wanted to. I chose the friends that I wanted to. I chose K-State because I wanted to. I honestly didn't put God into those equations, even though I wanted to live for Him, and I went to youth group and all that stuff. So I'm still searching for what I'm supposed to give up. I want to lay down my life for Him, but I don't know what He's asking me to lay down before Him right now, because obviously it's like you give up one thing at a time, or just what He knows you can, and I don't know what that is yet. So I'm still searching, but wanting to for sure. For me, my kind of around my freshman year of high school was kind of the year I kind of started actually following God, I would say, because I kind of just had a real experience where, like I just remember in my room, like one night I just kind of realized like the group of friends I was in didn't really care about me, and like they were making these choices that like I was against, because I grew up in a Christian home too, and so my parents raised me with Christian morals, and like I kind of just had this time where I was like, okay, I feel like God's telling me to choose between like staying with this friend group and going against like what I believe, or like following Him and really like truly being a disciple and a true Christian, rather than like just going to church. So kind of for me, sorry, I'm like stuttering, but that night I just like was crying out to God, and I was like, God, just please give me true friends that really care about me. And as cheesy as that little prayer was, He directly answered it little by little. Like that Sunday, I ended up coming to the queue for youth group, even though I didn't have any friends in the youth group, and I wouldn't have normally done that. So that was completely like God's Spirit, like just saying, Alexa, just go put yourself out there, come to the queue. So I came, and like Kristen Lilloyan, was like my only friend for a while, the youth leader here. But it's just kind of like little by little, like God just transforming my heart, telling me, Alexa, you don't need like friends to fill you up. Like I can fill you up alone. Like you don't even need friends. And also during that time, I was really involved in soccer, and that was kind of like part of my identity. Like soccer was like, oh, I do soccer and like social life and friends, and like I care about like my appearance and what others think of me. So that was kind of like my identity during that time. And like God just started transforming my heart of, Alexa, you don't need friends to fill you up. And also, soccer isn't the most important thing in life. So like I noticed that like little by little, I would rather like come to church instead of like skip my soccer game, because I felt like that was more important as I was like becoming a disciple of Christ, So that was something like I guess God kind of just called me to give up. Was like give up like those friends that like I thought cared about me but didn't, and kind of give up like my identity of like soccer. because like realizing that God is the most important thing in life. It's kind of my like conviction, I guess. Because like there's like finding that balance between like, you know, you can still like do sports and you can still like be so social. But I guess during that time, kind of like my idol, I guess, was like friends and soccer. And, like what other people thought of me was like taking over my life. So I'm still to this day being slowly transformed, and like God's telling me like, Alexa, like, you can give these things up to me, and like I will change you and transform you. So that's kind of what God's doing.
Well, my story is also kind of takes place during my freshman year, but really through like all 4 years of high school for me. So I guess like before high school I had in middle school a really great group of friends. They cared about me. We all kind of, so I thought we're all kind of standing on the same moral plank. And so we went to high school and we were still friends. Definitely were some temptations there. Some of those friends started getting involved in things that I knew that I could either get involved with or I could choose to be the Christian that my parents had prayed and hoped that I would become. Because I grew up in a Christian home, like all of us basically up here, and so I kind of was given a choice of, you know, are you going to continue to go down this path with these group of friends and maybe not do things that are very becoming of a Christian, or are you going to give up the comfort of having a group of friends who like you? Especially during high school, your freshman year, where things are a little bit scary and there's new people and it's a lot bigger and new things going on. So I slowly but surely decided that that Jesus was better than my comfort in having those friends, and so I decided to give that up. But that part was, you know, the Lord was really gracious to me and slowly showing me that He is better. But through that, it was also really hard because giving things up for the Lord is not always going to be easy. He never says that following Him is easy, and He definitely taught me that in high school. There were several times where people that I thought really cared about me just blatantly rejected me because of who I decided to become in the man, Jesus, of who I was going to follow. And it was really hard having some of these people that I had known basically my whole life who just would straight up reject me and didn't want me anymore. I also was just rejected a lot by even people that I thought, like, okay, so, you know, you're not my best friend, but you like me, right? Like, you respect me as a person. And I was on dance team for 4 years in high school. My senior year, I auditioned to be a captain on the team, and there were kind of 5 leadership positions, and there was 6 of us trying out for a leadership position. And basically, it was vote for who you don't want to be your leader and who you don't like, because that was essentially how it was set up. And I ended up being the person not receiving any kind of leadership position. And so I really took it hard in a sense of, wow, like my whole team that I thought was behind me and supported me really rejected me. And they rejected me because they know that I follow Jesus. And I am not as good a friend with them because I follow Jesus. And I had to give up maybe those relationships with girls on my team because they did not have anything to do with being a Christian. And so that was definitely really hard, but I think that like the biggest thing throughout high school that the Lord showed me is like, yeah, it's not going to be easy. Getting things up for Him is not going to be easy, but it's His work, and it's worth it. And it's still hard for me to this day to see the fruit in the rejection and pain that I had to go through. And there was more than one instance of rejection, and but the Lord has really spoke to me through those times, and I just want to read a verse that I just continue to meditate on, because I don't know, it kind of really hits home for me, especially when I was in high school. So it's Luke 6, verse 22, and it says, "Blessed are you when people hate you, and when they exclude you and revile you and spurn your name as evil on account of the Son of Man. Rejoice in that day and leap for joy, for behold, your reward is great in heaven, for so their fathers did to the prophets." So, yeah, that's kind of my story, and that's the biggest thing that the Lord has taught me from what it means to follow Him, is that it's not always going to be easy, but it's always going to be worth
it. And my story began about a year and a half ago in my Christian home. It's really more than a Christian home. I want to emphasize that it's a Wildcat home, a Kansas State Wildcat home. If you know my family, or if you know, it's bad if I just elevated Wildcats above Christ, but I just did, because it's more important in this story right now to prove that Christ is worth it. So if you know me, or my family, or my brother's room is actually completely purple with a giant Wildcat in it. So I mean, that should prove whatever. We love the Kansas State Wildcats. And so about a year and a half ago, I was in the midst of my college decision, and K-State was pretty high up on my list of colleges to go to. Obviously, I'm a Walden. So I was looking at K-State, and I went and visited some other schools, and I was like, pish posh, this is nothing. And so I wound up in a situation where I was up for a scholarship that would make it easy for my whole family, for me to go to K-State. It would be affordable and a great transition. And so I said, sweet. I prayed a prayer. I can remember saying, Lord, if you want me to go to K-State, then let the scholarship happen, because then I'm in and it'll be easy and I'll know that it's from you. And so I went into the scholarship weekend, like really excited. I went to the interview and I bombed it. I blew it so bad. I wanted the scholarship so hard that I can remember telling them exactly what I thought they wanted to hear, and then afterwards walking out and knowing that's the opposite of what they wanted to hear. I was like, oh man, I just used Aslan in an analogy because I thought that'd be super manly and cool, and it was not cool. I didn't think it was that cool at all. And so I walked out there, it's like, all right, Lord, it's still in your hands, let it happen or don't. And that night I got a call from the guy who did the interview. Was like, is this Max Walden? I was like, yeah. He was like, you didn't get the scholarship, have a good night. And then click, and that was it. And I was like, okay, woo! Rejection, yeah. So I felt it hard, and I was like crying into my K-State blanket, just like, Mom, help me. And so I just prayed for a couple of weeks of like, Lord, where do you want me to go then? Where am I supposed to go? This is what I was born to be a Wildcat. Are you serious? Like, why would you take this away from me? After a couple of weeks, I just like, whatever, I gave up. And so I went through this pile of junk mail that I had stashed in my room that my mom had told me to throw away. And this is like the one time I can prove, Mom, the Lord wanted me to keep all that crap. Because I went through that pile of trash that night, and one of the brochures stuck out to me. It just said like God first was their motto for this school, and so I checked it out that night, applied, whatever, wound up, there was just like a way to go there. I got up for a scholarship to go there, like that was basically the same, it would make it the same affordability as the one for K-State, and so I was like, this is oddly parallel. And so I prayed the same prayer, Lord, if you want me to go here, let it happen. If not, let it fall through. Whatever, it's in your hands. All the while, kind of hoping, I hope I bombed this one worse than I did for K-State. So then all I have left is K-State. Then I have to go to K-State. Got team. But it wound up that I won the scholarship to go out to this school in California that I had like no idea what it's about. I had been there for like 1.5 days, and that was where I had just prayed that if the Lord made it happen, I would go there. And so I did, and I spent my whole freshman year there, and I still, like, I know that how that will happen just because it was so, like, saturated with prayer that I know that's where God wanted me. But still, I mean, I'm still repping K-State. I still, like, desire to go to K-State. I still don't necessarily, like, see the fruit in it, in not going to K-State. I know this is kind of weird because none of you guys can relate just yet, but you will someday in this decision. And so this is, I'm still like having to go all in, like every time I prepare to go back to college, or we get to hang out with all my friends who go to K-State. It's like just an act of giving that up over and over. Just like this, your desires aren't the greatest. You don't know what you need. I know what you need. And I want to express that it wasn't totally my decision to go all in, and I don't think God's going to put it on you every time to make the decision. He put me in a situation where it would be stupid of me to say no to that. And while I do think sometimes you're going to have to make a tough decision to give up something you really love, God's going to make an opportunity for you to take this other path. God gave an opportunity for me to go somewhere else. God gave an opportunity to sell your Xbox, even though it's something like you love and you like don't want to give up. God will make it happen. So, yeah, I hope that shows the power of prayer, especially that story, and not the power of the Wildcats. I apologize for that, but that's my story. And I don't know if you guys will have any questions, but we want to open this up as a time for questions. If you have something in our stories that relate to yours, or you have a question about us that you want to know, we'll open ourselves up here. And if no one has any questions, it's okay. But we want to know, we want to answer anything you guys might have for us.
It's okay if you don't have it, but if you do have it, raise your hand. If not, you can ask it in a smaller group setting.
Yeah. Okay, no questions. That's fine. Sweet. We're going to go back into a couple songs of worship. Okay.
Yes, sir.